Hi, everybody. NFL Week 7 update coming at you. We've gone a whole daylight without a death threat. How awesome is that? Maybe this will work. Yeah, definitely putting out the NFL algorithm, the NHL algorithm, and the college basketball algorithm when it's ready next month out for free. I will be accepting any donations via PayPal for anyone who has a good week and wants to thank me. That will be fantastic. Some people responded today. That the response was overwhelming. I really felt good about everyone that responded today. Makes me remember that there are just so many more good people in the world than there are bad people in the world. So that's always nice to know. So anyway, let's talk about Week 7 today. So I did a little bit more work on the file because I can't put out something that I just don't spend time on and accurately review. I understand a lot of you people depend on this, and so I had to do a little bit more work on it, and I did, and I ended up coming up with some different numbers after I ran the injury report. And also, there's this number here. It's called the adjusted rating. This number right here, it was set at 50 in the version I had earlier today, but now it's at 35. As the season progresses, this number needs to sit around 35 based on last year because it adjusts scores, and it's more important to keep that number at 35. So here's what we got after doing that. And first thing we're going to talk about is the Thursday night game because it's very interesting right now. So Baker Mayfield is out on Cleveland with a labrum injury. You can see that here that he's not playing. They're going to have, I guess, Case Keenum playing. He doesn't have any stats this year. So this is difficult. The projections are having him essentially fall out and have no quarterback offense for Cleveland, which is distorting your projection here. It doesn't really think Cleveland's only going to put up 13. It just has essentially no QB in here. So, I mean, Baker Mayfield's rating was actually pretty low in here anyway. If you open this up and see what he actually was, he was only a 0.2 right here. So he wasn't contributing that much anyway. But without a quarterback, obviously that's trouble. So this projection's off because of this problem. And it has Denver winning this game, has a low-scoring game. It makes me want to look at an under in this game, given that you have Case Keenum playing, and Denver's defense was supposed to be acceptable, even though they've lost some games to Vegas and I think Baltimore recently. So really, I always say this on a Thursday night game, really tough game to pick. Cleveland at home, their defense is supposed to be a little bit better. If anything, I mean, what is the over-under set at? 41? I don't know. Honestly, this is a stay-away game in my opinion. I know it's the only Thursday night game, but there's just too many variables here. I don't like any of this. And even though you're getting almost even money, the odds makers don't know what to do either. So that's why you see both of these teams essentially at almost even money. So I don't really know what to tell you about Thursday night. Let's look at the rest of the week where we can start to draw some conclusions for Sunday. So after making those adjustments that I talked about, you have Tampa Bay over the Bears. Seems pretty reasonable. They're favored by 12.5. Thinks they win by 14. It's one of those games where I don't know what to tell you because the line's terrible. So you probably stay away from it. Let's do that again where we pull teams off. Like almost an unbettable game with Tampa Bay, even though they're supposed to win. Now you have Green Bay over Washington Football Club. High scoring game, right? Sees a lot of that. Thinks they're going to win by 13. They only have to cover 8. So maybe, but I don't like taking teams minus 8 points. If anything, you look at maybe an over in that game. Denver and Cleveland, we just talked about. That's a mess. Don't know what to do there. Arizona over Houston. You can see that's minus 1,375. They have a 100% win score percentage. 100%. So, it's funny because that happened once last year and the team actually lost, which I thought was hilarious. So once again, unbettable game, 17-point spread because Houston is so miserable. But what do you do there, right? Unbettable game. This is where the odds makers are really catching up with the algorithm. Also, Rams and Lions, unbettable game. I mean, this is what's supposed to happen when the odds makers catch up with what's going on. Is they're supposed to give you unbettable lines so that you don't know what to do, and it's really a crapshoot. So even more games that we can't play. Right? So things are getting tough here later in the season. Now we've got Chiefs at the Titans. I am surprised to see the Chiefs at minus 222. You can see that it has Tennessee only losing this game by 4. So Tennessee plus 5.5 is what the spread pick says to do. But it has the Chiefs winning this game. How interesting. Boy, a lot of talk about a tough week. I noticed they like to use Derrick Henry a lot against good teams. I think it's one of the reasons why the Titans lost to the Jets is they probably didn't use him as much as they should because they thought they were playing the Jets a few weeks ago. Should be another good game. I don't know what to tell you. It's just too close to call, right? It just is. There's nothing popping out here. Now here we have Jets and Patriots. Favors the Patriots by 6.5. Thinks that they only win by 3, and this game's in New England. It was a battle last week with the Patriots in Dallas, with Dallas coming up on top. I'm tempted to take the Jets plus 6.5 here. That's what the algorithm says to do. But really, you don't like taking this other team. These are awful, awful, awful games this week. What else we got? Now here, this one's interesting, and I did want to talk about this game with Seattle and New Orleans. So here we have a win score percentage of negative 24% for Seattle, yet the projected score at this point, even with Geno Smith playing instead of Russell Wilson, has Seattle barely winning this game. Now, Seattle did cover the 5.5 points against Pittsburgh and played them pretty strongly last week. They do have a decent defense. Geno Smith's not a bad quarterback. So here you can get 5.5 points again with Seattle. But what's interesting about this negative 24% is this number here, this win score percentage number that is derived from season stats, the current season stats. This number ends up being something where whenever the projected score disagrees with this number, you're starting to identify some value in the odds, meaning everybody thinks, based on the season stats, that New Orleans is supposed to win this game. Yet, the point projections don't agree with that. So, it means that Seattle plus 5.5 is one of our stronger picks for the day. If you're not going to take them to win, taking them plus 5.5 on a bigger bet like a parlay or a round robin is a pretty good pick according to the algorithm. Now, as I refresh stats, we noticed I think we had the Giants beating Carolina previously. Now it's back to something that's more reasonable. Win strength of 45% for Carolina. Carolina wins this game. McCaffrey is still out, but boy, are the Giants a really bad team. And I'd be surprised if they can beat Carolina. So even that minus 150 there, you can see that it can't cover the 3 points or barely wants to cover the 3 points, but it's Carolina to win. That's a reasonable pick there. Niners over the Colts. I think this flipped around because it was Colts over Niners previously in the video I had put out earlier this morning. The win strength is low, but they're minus 200. Are you kidding me? Wow. Because they're at home. So it doesn't agree that they're going to cover the 4 points. It's certainly, tough game. I'd actually say pull that game off there. Or anything, you take Indianapolis plus 4. Because it's more than a field goal there, Indianapolis plus 4. Look at how far down on the list we are. That's an Indianapolis plus 4 game according to the way the algorithm has been working throughout the year. So keep that in mind. Atlanta tying now Miami. Miami just loses a game in Jacksonville in London. Atlanta should start to turn it up this year. It's got a slight win score percentage, but really a toss-up game. They probably, you see this like tie game where somebody wins by a field goal, so they probably cover the 2.5 if they win. So it's almost like you take a minus 2.5, but really, really tough game. Baltimore and Cincinnati, super close game. Says Baltimore is not worthy of this minus 260 and certainly not worthy of minus 6. Cincinnati makes close games, so this is once again one of those games at the bottom where it says take Cincinnati plus 6 or maybe an alternate line plus 7 just so that they can lose by anything less than a touchdown. Philadelphia and the Raiders, another super close game. Raiders did play well in their first game after Gruden last week, but doesn't know what to do here. You get Philly plus 3 in. That's just too tough of a game. I don't like anything about that game. I think the Raiders can win that game. The odds makers think the Raiders are going to win that game, so I'm going to pull that game off there as well. And what that leaves you with the injury report in its current status, is Seattle plus 5.5, Carolina to win, -150. Indianapolis +4. Atlanta Atlanta to win. Just be reasonable with that on a round robin. Atlanta to win, and Cincinnati plus, I would say, an alternate line of 7. Just let them win by, if as long as they can lose by less than a touchdown, you want to get paid. The 6 or 6.5 is a tough hook because you never know when Baltimore is going to start to try to run up the score. But they oftentimes, Cincinnati's defense is good enough, they should keep that game fairly close. So that's the update here, and yeah, that's the NFL update. And are there any other questions or anything else we want to talk about? Is there one thing I can leave you with for Thursday night? I hate this game. I hate everything about this game. I hate everything about it. I don't like anybody's line. You don't have enough information to act on. If anything, I would just do fantasy. That's what I would do. And you can purchase my fantasy application. I got a bunch of fantasy applications that work for these type of games as well. All right. Good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning if you do one thing this weekend, because I don't know if I'm going to do another video this weekend. If you do one thing, first of all, never listen to me and always listen to the algorithm. I mean, the greatest margin of victory is the Bucks over the Bears. So there's that. Point-wise, the highest scoring point game is this Green Bay-Washington game. The lowest scoring point game is, what, 36 here? This Denver-Cleveland game, but we're missing a quarterback for Cleveland, so I don't like any of that. This New England Jets game being 37 points. What's the over-under in that game? 42. All right. That's a pretty solid under. The Patriots will try to slow teams down, and the Jets are obviously the Jets. So I believe that you're going to see a score well within this range. It's been doing pretty good things with scores when it comes to the Patriots and Jets this season. So that's a pretty decent under. But all right, anyway, may your picks be winning, and may you all have a good day.